With the elections around the corner, Bengal seemed to be the flavor of the season. Political parties and leaders are busy selling competing visions of Bengal on the campaign trail, and all of us seem to have a strong opinion on their statements. While interacting with friends on social media and otherwise, it seemed to us that although all of us have strong views, many of us do not have clear ideas about the history of the region and how the Bengali ethos and way of life evolved. Volumes have been written on the subject, but few have the time or patience to read. So this is an attempt to chronicle the journey of Bengal from the time of the Mahabharata to the time of Mamata Banerjee in the form of short videos, the objective being only to trigger your interest.
Nestled between the high Himalayas in the north, the Chotanagpur Plateau in the west, the hills of Mizoram and Arakan in the east, and the Bay of Bengal in the south, lies the land of Bengal, stretching into nearly 240,000 square kilometers of mountains, plateaus, deciduous and mangrove forests, and fertile alluvial plains. Undivided Bengal is home to more than 240 million men, women, and children that speak in numerous languages and dialects, but mainly in Bangla, the fifth most spoken native language of the world. Although divided by the vicissitudes of history, the two halves of Bengal, the People's Republic of Bangladesh and the Indian state of West Bengal, are united by bonds of tradition, culture, and family ties that cannot be seen but only felt. Rabindranath Tagore's description of India as a place of pilgrimage for the meeting of countless peoples can equally be applied to Bengal. History has kept no strict account of how many different peoples, how many various races, and how many diverse currents of culture mingled together, and how they eventually merged into one in the settlements of Rada, Pundra, Vanga, and Samatata. But such an account may be sought in a people's physical appearance, language, culture, and material civilization. Anthropologists believe that since prehistory, Mongolian, Dravidian, Proto-Australoid, Negrito, Indo-Aryan, Scytho-Parthian races came and settled in Bengal. Since the 12th century onwards, significant number of Arabs and Turks also settled in this region. Perhaps the oldest historical reference to the region is to be found in the Aitareya Aranyaka. The text compares the language of the region to the language of birds, and the people themselves are described as heathens. The Mahabharata talks about the military progress of Prince Bhima, where he defeated the Pundra king besides the river Kosi, and then went on to defeat the rulers of Vanga, Tamralipti, Karvata, and Suhuma. Elsewhere, the epic also talks about the coronation of Karna as the ruler of Anga, following which Vanga also came under his rule. The excavation of the Wari Boteshwar ruins in the Norshingdi area of Bangladesh, 70 kilometers to the northeast of Dhaka, has transformed the ideas about the existence of urban civilization in this region of the subcontinent. Believed to be active between 2000 BCE and 450 BCE, and one of the emporia mentioned in Ptolemy's Geographia, an archaeological initiative launched by the Jahangir Nagar University, Bangladesh in 2000 unearthed ancient roads, houses, terracotta, silver coins, handcrafted metal objects, printed currencies, weapons, and a host of other artifacts. Although symbols of the sun god, swastika, and Nandipada have been found on coins and stone slabs, the civilization is believed to have turned Buddhist in its final years. Ptolemy also described the kingdom of Gangaridai, with the last part of the Ganga as its eastern boundary and the city of Gange as its capital. The kingdom reportedly flourished between the 1st century BCE and 2nd century CE. It was indicated that urban centers of the kingdom were located along the coast of the Bay of Bengal between the two main mouths of the river. According to contemporary Greek accounts, the kingdom was feared for its fierce army of elephant-born warriors. The king of the united realm of Gangaridai, also known as Gangarashtra, and the neighbouring Prachya, was named in the Puranas as Mahapadmananda. After the overthrow of the Nanda dynasty by Chandragupta Maurya, this region was also incorporated into the Maurya Empire. This is also corroborated by Yuan Sang's account. The Mehrali iron pillar at Qutub Minar in Delhi names the king by the name of Chandra as having destroyed his enemies in the many settlements of Vanga. Some think that this was the Gupta king Chandragupta I, while others believe that it was Chandragupta II. But be that as it may, there is no doubt that Samudragupta incorporated into his empire nearly all the settlements of ancient Bengal other than Samatata. In the early part of the 7th century, Shashanka established his reign in Gauda and the region of modern western Bengal from Malda and Murshidabad, reaching till Odisha, achieved unity for the first time. From the time of Shashanka, we may trace the beginnings of a conscious attempt to bring together the different settlements of Bengal under a common name, an endeavour which reached maturity during the regimes of the Pala and the Sena kings between the 7th and the 12th centuries. The earliest form of the modern Bengali language emerged with the Chorjapot texts only in the 13th century. Bolstered by native identity, a far greater level of unity, however, was to be achieved under the so-called Pathan rule and reached its peak during the reign of Akbar the Great, under whose rule the entire region was combined in a single administrative unit with the name of Bangla. Bengal's history is founded on its numerous and diverse rivers and streams. This network of waterways, the lifeline of the region, have nurtured Bengal throughout the ages and determined its appearance and nature. In historical times, Bengal's rivers, somewhat capriciously, have often left one course for another and that for yet another, carrying an immense amount of rain and flood water, often wreaking havoc and washing away entire settlements. At other times, the rivers have brought fertile alluvial soil, creating new, prosperous habitats.
Bengal is proverbially a land of rivers. The drainage map of Bengal has changed appreciably during the known historical period, and many rivers have changed courses, new ones have sprung up, and some have even disappeared from the surface or have simply gone dry. Our understanding of the dynamics of the river system is at best partial.
Bengal Delta is a tide-dominated delta where tides play the key role in the sediment dispersal process and in the shaping of the delta. The river system is unstable and prone to rapid changes that cause the delta to become very dynamic.
The Bengali people have sometimes rebuked the rivers with names such as Rakhoshi and Kirtinasha, but at other times they have called their rivers by such loving names as Ichamoti, Moyurakhi, Kopotakho, Churni, Rupnarayan, Jamuna, and Shurama. But of all the rivers, it is the Ganga which is at the heart of Bengal's river system. Revered by the local people, the great river with its western stream, the Bhagirathi Hooghly, and its mighty eastern stream, the Padma, joins up with the Brahmaputra known locally as Jomuna, forming the vast watercourse of Meghna. The Ganges-Brahmaputra river system flows through the entire course of the region, directly sustaining the livelihoods of 125 million people.
12th and 18th centuries, there were two clearly identifiable shifts of the Bhagirathi River. The first one had occurred between 13th and 14th centuries when the Bhagirathi started migrating from east to west, and the decline of the prosperous and hallowed city of Gaur could be ascribed to this to a large extent. The westerly swing was followed by its eastward movement between the 16th and 18th centuries. There was a major change in the Bhagirathi's drainage pattern as it slowly veered towards a smaller and narrower stream of Podda in the east. Over a period of time, Podda gradually became a very broad and vibrant channel by capturing most of the water from the western arm of the Ganga, that is Bhagirathi, from above Bhagavan Gola at Shruti in Murshidabad. In the process, the Bhagirathi turned into a rather sluggish channel.
The stream flows into the Bay of Bengal to form the world's largest estuary. Close to the estuary lies the mangrove forests of Sundarbans, covering an area of about 10,000 square kilometers spanning across Bangladesh and West Bengal. These forests are comprised of mangroves, of which the most abundant tree species are Shundari and Gewa. The forests provide habitat to 453 faunal wildlife, including 290 bird, 120 fish, 35 reptile, 8 amphibian, and 42 mammal species, including the famed Bengal tiger. Rivers change course. Killer cyclones rage. Settlements are washed away. New land emerges with prospects of hope. Life in Bengal continues as an unending stream of hope and despair.